Howdy, all. This is Jason Elgato with the Confessing Baptist Podcast. Today is January the 29th, 2015. This is the headlines from the Dunker Bunker, your weekly audio source for all things 1689. Boom! You like that? You know where I actually heard the 1689 pronounced that way from this week?
Where's that? Where's that?
From my Kindle. When I told my Kindle to read to me, it was reading to me one of Sam Waldron's books, and then he referenced 1689, and he said, just like our own confession says in 1689, and it took me a while to understand what it was reading out, but it doesn't know how it's supposed to be pronounced, so I forgave it, but I thought that was funny. So, but yes, with me is all you can hear the familiar laugh of.
Hey everybody, this is Junior Duran. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
And just FYI, yes, we have seen the post on Ref 21. I keep getting tweets and some emails about that. And no, we don't really believe John Owen was a crypto Baptist. When we say that, that's always a joke, FYI. But we'll get more into that later, possibly. Or actually, there's going to be a post on it later. I think Javi's actually working on it right now. But anyways, let's get into the news. You want to kick us off with some excellent beard news?
Yeah. And I wish Javi was here. Right? When's he coming back? He's back for like one day, and then he went back.
He was going to come back on today because he's not working tonight, but then he's like, but my parents are coming and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, that's a good thing. That's okay. Yeah. I'm going to send him the link right now, and if he joins, who knows? Maybe we'll at least get to say hi.
And to his parents, too.
And to his parents.
Yeah. So Javi brought this to our attention. This is from Etsy. It's 1689 Beard Balm. So what it does is it's just a balm for your beard to help tame it. Rawr, right? We need that bear sound from our buddy, right?
Yes.
A beard balm, yeah. So it's a natural way to grow a beard. It leaves your beard conditioned and control it. I saw like an ad now. It's got a peppermint scent. I like peppermint. That's cool.
I know.
So in the spirit of 1689 confession, Charles Spurgeon referred to the... you know what? Javi spelled Spurgeon wrong. He should deduct Baptist points from him for that.
Well, you know what? That is actually a quote from their site, so that is the direct quote. So they spelled it wrong.
Okay, yeah. It's copy and paste.
Grace
referred to the confession as an excellent expression, and so they hope these people, 1689 Beard Balm people, hope that their product echoes that excellent expression. So they're on Etsy again. They have a video that we posted about the product. And we'll come back to this later on. And again, This is what we are your post for your one source for all things 1689, right?
Yeah, when we say all things 1689, we mean even beard balm that's inspired by the 1689. So funny. I don't know if you noticed, Junior. I know the lighting in my room is kind of bad, and this is obviously an audio podcast. But I don't know if you see.
Oh, you shaved.
You see this? But do you see how I shaved? I'm trying to bust a goatee. I've never tried before, and my wife said it was okay. So
Charles Mingus looking, yeah.
Yes, I really want to get. I just want an excuse to use some of that beard balm. So that's all. I was like, well, if I use some of this, because in his advertisement, he's like, when you kiss your wife, you can irritate their skin if your beard is kind of, or your mustache. I was like, love, this is the perfect solution. Look right here. I'll just put some of that in, be nice and soft. But
that's what I say. I'm hoping to come up with stash wax. I used to stash wax.
Ooh, nice. I mean, it's facial hair, so you could use it for your stash you got rocking right now, dude. Yeah. But anyways, also in the news, March 23rd, 2015, Greg Strawbridge is to debate James White on baptism at RTS in Orlando, Florida. Very interesting. That's really all the news we have out about it now. There's really nothing more. But I don't know if you guys know but Greg and James had debated previously on the topic of the recipients of baptism back in 2007, and they did that through a telephone debate. And we posted the recording of that audio in the same post there, so you can listen to that. But this is interesting for a couple of reasons. Hud Jr., you commented, and then someone else wanted. Well, it was actually Patrick who wanted to comment on why this was an interesting choice of debate partner and location. You want to tell us why?
Right. Oh yeah. No. So oh gosh, Strawbridge, right? He is famously and unashamedly Federal Vision, New Paul, Perspective, or whatever. He's in that group. He was actually part of the CREC, and so I linked to his bio. He owns Word. Is it Word.mp3? I think he owns that
Yeah.
site. But so he's not ashamed of it. But he's part of that group, so it's odd that RTS, Reformed Theological Seminary, would host it. So that's a couple of thoughts. But James White did a debate with a confessional Paleo Baptist, and that was Bill Shisco. It's a little old, but it was a good debate, and I think the moderator was our good buddy Chris Arnzen.
Chris Arnzen,
yes.
That
was his.
Yes.
So that it's gonna be a good debate, but I mean it's odd. I don't know. You know what? I don't know if we have any Paleo Baptist listeners, Jason, but I think that the FVV or whatever Federal Vision is kind of consistent Paleo baptism to me.
Oh, you went there.
Yep. Well, I just want to drop that in.
You just want to drop that bomb there.
Yeah.
You probably also think John Owen's a Baptist, huh? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Lee Gratis, if you're listening to this, just joking. That was a joke. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Chris Arnzen. I'm actually later on, probably next week, I'm going to post all of Lee Arnzen's MP3s. For those who don't know, he was the host of Iron Sharpens Iron, a really excellent radio show.
Yep.
2007, 2008, 2009, I think. I forget how long it lasted for. Just great material.
Enough.
Yeah, not long enough. But you know what? If you're on the Reformed Baptist list, the email list, he's been saying that he's trying to get it started back up. A radio station's interested in airing that again. He's just kind of working on getting the funds to do that. So it may come back again. But the site was going to completely go away. So Brandon Adams actually he sent his web crawlers to get all the MP3 files, and then he put them in a Dropbox and asked Chris Arnzen for permission to put them out there. So they're out there. So I'm gonna link to all those in case someone wants to access the archives. They are in Brandon Adams' Dropbox. So just hack into the system and boom, you got them. But it's a public Dropbox, so it's not really hacking. Just kidding. Just kidding. But that's it for news. So let's get on to books.
Books.
Reading a book. One of the posts we told you about last week that actually we referenced it in the Baptibot, and I told you, I'm actually working on a roundup for it. It was the audiobook narrations by Tom Sullivan. He's been narrating books since 1985 to the present. He's still doing it. He puts them all out on PuritanAudiobooks.net, like we told you about last week. And the ones I rounded up, in particular, I'll just kind of give you quick summaries of them. Autobiography of William Kiffin, Bunyan's The Groans of Lost Souls, his Barren Fig Tree, and The Heavenly Footman. John Picot, 1717, who's famous for doing sermons, funeral sermons, that is, one for Hercules Collins and one for William Collins, so both important men in particular Baptist life. Benjamin Wallen, Benjamin Badome, Abraham Booth, Pierre, Shale Dagg, Spurgeon, Pink, and more. And he's still putting out these audios, so check him out. I updated the post already with some parts that he completed since we posted it on Friday. So thanks, Tom Sullivan, for providing that stuff for us right there.
Absolutely. Now on to audio. That was all it for books. A short book week, huh?
Yeah.
So coming up in audio and video, Dr. Michael Haykin, Dr. Michael A.G. Haykin of the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, had a short little 3-minute interview conversation, and in it, we found out how he became a Christian, about his interest in church history, about his journey to SPTS, and about teaching. So it's a real short. Y'all can check that out.
And if you haven't seen the video yet, he is sporting. I think it takes a special man to wear pink and purple and things like that. I don't think I can pull it off. But man, he's sporting this pink outfit with like this pink tie, and man, he looks sharp. Like he's rocking it. So if for anything, check that out. Check out his fashion sense. Also in the audio, we posted answers to the question, does God want you healed? And the Creative Covenant Legacy webcast answered that. So that's a podcast we've told you about before. But let me go ahead and just read you a little blurb from that. Does God want you healed? Eric and Nathan wrestle with the question, does God want you healed? Some people say that it is always God's plan and desire to heal everyone in this life of sickness. Should we expect healing in every circumstance, or does the Bible present a different message? This episode will examine 4 biblical reasons for sickness and show that even in affliction, God is loving to his people. So it's 29 minutes long, and it's Eric Eric Alaya.
Yep, Ayala.
There you go. I can never get his name right. I see it. I hear you pronounce it. I just can't do it. It just doesn't roll off my tongue correctly. Sorry, Eric. And his buddy Nathan, the guy who wrestles alligators, which they talk a little bit more about that in the podcast. He legitimately wrestles alligators, which is really cool. So, yeah, so check that out. Really good, very direct, very balanced, and I love those guys' podcasts. So I'm really glad the work they're doing.
Yeah, is this like they've just started that, right, Jason? Do you think?
Yeah. That's only their 5th episode. And,
right. Okay.
And they come out with about one a month or so. I think they're working on maybe a little more than that, but they kind of just go with the flow. It's like, we got time to do one. Here's one, So.
Moving on. So with our audio, we did something unusual. We usually post our interviews every other week, but we're kind of doing back-to-back for a little while. And so we aired part 2 of our podcast with Dr. Joe Pipa, president of GPTS, right? Greenville Theological Seminary. GPTS. You can probably guess what the P stands for. So Dr. Pipa, we interviewed him. And, so this is part 2, and it was on worship. The whole subject was covenantal worship. He taught a class in Canada. He teaches it's a 1-week class. He teaches a 1-week class every January at GPTS in Greenville, South Carolina. So I totally urge you to attend if you like that. It was a good discussion. It went on for a while. All kinds of stuff in there. I like Jason's link bait about Tom Chantry joining the PCA. That was pretty good.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I like that. Goods. Yeah, and also I want to give a hat tip or what do you give? Like a salute to Jason for the links. So we got Harry's, which is we talked about a lot of stuff. If y'all didn't listen to the whole podcast, listen to the end. We got personal. We got kind of goofy with Dr. Pipa. So we talk about shaving products and smoking, and so that's what the links refer to. Oh, and we finally got into Miles Davis because I think we've had some John Coltrane references before, but I think this is the first Miles Davis reference.
Finally, paying the man some respect.
Yeah,
yeah, and with that, you know what I really loved about that podcast? I mean, we recorded it back in October, so I forgot some of that stuff that happened. But I have to admit, when he said that final joke, I was laughing because his accent was so funny, and he told it with such he was such a good storyteller. And that final joke, he presented it so good. I admit I did not understand that joke at all. I don't have any clue what the joke was about. I've thought about it. I heard it again. I still didn't get it. So if anyone can fill me in on what that joke means,
Pascal knows. It's because it's about the dog collars. The guy was wearing one. I don't know. We'll talk about it over some beers.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Yeah, someone can just give me a clear tweet answer on what that joke meant.
Right.
But what you're saying now, I'm starting to connect the dots. Okay, I can kind of see that.
Okay.
But man, he's a funny guy. But anyways,
he's really cool.
Yeah, yes, super cool guy, and we'll be talking about more of the stuff we talked about in that podcast later when we get to giveaways. But we still have some more audio today. Richard Barcelos was interviewed on Knowing the Truth Radio, Bowling there, regarding New Covenant theology and the law. And this is just a short 27-minute radio interview that he did, and it was actually brought upon when the host got one of those conference files. We were talking about the GPTS conference, and he got one of those conference files, and he was really interested in the subject, talking about the law of God and covenant theology and things like that. And especially when he saw Richard Barcelos's post, or his topic rather, he got him on the show. He asked him all about it, and then he asked him about some of his books and whatnot. And it's cool because they wind up getting into a lot of hermeneutics. They talk about covenant theology. They talk about some of the updates that Richard's going to be doing to his book, his book on the law. What's it called? In Defense of the Decalogue, the second edition.
Yes.
Which will be out probably a couple of years or so on Founders.
Yeah, it's out of print. It's out of print now. It's at a high price. Don't buy it at the high price.
Yeah, just wait till the second. Yeah, start saving up for the second edition. It'll probably be more reasonable than what it's at right now. But anyways,
exactly.
It's a great little interview. Really good stuff. So it kind of gives you a preview of what his talk will be about at the GPTS conference, and also the book, some of the updates, because it's interesting because I've heard him talk about New Covenant theology before. We probably all have if we've listened to his stuff.
Right.
but he brought out some newer type stuff that I had never heard of, like some of the different ways they talk about the law. Like I know they talk about it differently, but he's throwing out terms I had never even heard of before, that some of these new covenant authors are bringing out. So very interesting stuff. But what also was interesting is this is really the first week we posted a lot. We linked to rather a lot of different blog posts. We don't normally do that. Seems like lately we've just been linking to audio resources or books. But this week we had a lot on the opinion piece side. So you want to kick us off with the first one, Junior?
Well, before I do that, let me back up to Dr. Barcelos.
Oh yes, go back to it.
I haven't heard it yet, but I will because I like he's a buddy of ours here.
Yeah.
Does he? And it sounds like you heard it, right? So
I did.
Does he tell any jokes in there? Because
he doesn't.
Okay, good.
No.
Because his jokes are grown. I love him, but his jokes are groaners usually, right? Like, oh.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Well, be careful. Sometimes
Right?
he listens to this. I get texts from him. He's like, he listens to this and he corrects me on
I
stuff.
know.
He's
He knows. He knows.
I know. No, I know.
He knows.
Yeah, no. Since it's a radio format and there's a limited time.
Yeah.
They got straight to the point. So.
Okay.
I mean, as far as actual content, because he gives a real long. The post Kevin Bowling gives a pretty long intro, and then it's funny.
Oh yeah. And he got commercials.
Whenever he gets into it, he's always like, did I get that right? I found that bio online. He always says stuff like that. He's like, is it true? Was this the last book he wrote? And sometimes it's outdated stuff. So we're just like, oh, I also wrote this book and this one too. And since then I've written these other books, and so it's always funny to me. But anyways, no groaners from what I recall.
Okay, good. Moving on to the opinions. Okay, this is from Conrad Mbewe, and the post is on repentance. The missing note in today's preaching. Bam!
Boom.
Repentance is missing from today's preaching.
Just tells it like it is.
So I'll read a quote from Pastor Mbewe. I have observed with a growing concern how repentance is no longer a clear call in much of today's preaching. This may not necessarily be true all over the world, but as I listen more and more to various preachers on African soil, this is certainly true here on our continent. The vast majority of preachers treat sin more like a disease than a state of rebellion. Hence, the remedial approach is that of deliverance rather than a call to repent. Was that prevalent view in the Bible? And I mean, we've alluded to this before, I think, Jason, about how America has exported charismaticism, and not charismatic, but the prosperity gospel.
Word of faith,
yeah. That's what this sounds like. You need to be delivered from the spirit of whatever it is, And here he says, no, what you need to do is repent. And so I really like that.
Yeah. When he was saying, he's like, oh, I'm not sure if this is how it is in the rest of the world. It's like, well, I guess I don't either, but I know definitely in our Western world, and in Mexico, and yeah, in America and Mexico, I know for sure. Yeah, it is prevalent because it sells, unfortunately.
It sells, yeah.
Yeah, it's
not your fault. You need to be delivered from it. You're the victim.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes perfect with our victim mentality, right? With all the psychobabble. But anyways, a post that our Patrick, it was funny. I think one of the reasons we had a lot of opinion or a lot of these more just blog type posts is because Javi and Patrick were posting this week, which is rare. So that was cool. I was always glad to see what they highlight. This is one from Patrick. It is titled "Innovative Thinking versus Time-Tested Truth," and this is from Bobby Crenshaw. He posted this over at Reformed Libertarian and his own blog. But he mentioned, I've started to read Sam Renihan's God Without Passion, a reader. I could not even get past the foreword by Carl Trueman without being reminded of how the smallest departure from the doctrine of God can lead to many unintended and dangerous consequences. And then he goes on to give some of the quotes from Trueman's intro there, which we've highlighted before on our blog, and it's been on some of the other ones.
Right.
And then he goes on to say, many naively believe that we should simply study the Bible without having a conversation about how the church has historically understood the Bible. However, is this not choosing to consciously ignore the wealth of information that the Holy Spirit has given as an inheritance to the church already? Are we willing to lightly cast aside that the Spirit has shown to our forefathers in the faith throughout history? I'm sorry.
Dude, I love that last paragraph.
Yeah. Are we really expected to start at square one every generation? Yeah, wow. So that post titled "Innovative Thinking versus Time-Tested Truth," you can check that out. It's not too long.
I love that.
Yeah. Very good stuff.
Is it Javi length? Can Javi read it?
It is Javi length.
That's good. No, dude, that really resonates with me because when I tell people, you might have heard this already, but when I discovered the Reformed confessions and catechisms, like it was a bittersweet thing. It was sweet because I just loved it. It was just pure. It resonated with Scripture. Like
Right.
because I still read the Bible like every day, like 3 chapters, whatever. But so it made sense to me, the confessions and catechisms. So it was sweet, but it was bitter because how come nobody's ever told me this before?
Right.
The church didn't start with Chuck Smith. It started, back in the Apostles, and it's continued on until today. But there's a lot of history there, and that last paragraph there really resonated with me, and really appreciate that.
Amen.
So speaking of pastors, I don't know.
Nice try.
I know, right? This is from Robert Truelove. A word of practical advice to. Oh, this is good. Oh, Jason, I see what you did there. This was in my Baptibot feed, and you moved it up, right? Or no?
Oh no, I posted it this morning, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good, because we both picked it then. So this is from Robert Truelove over at the Reformed Baptist Fellowship blog. It's a word of practical advice to new bivocational pastors, which is probably a lot of you all out there. If you're 69 pastors, right? I think. I mean, you're lucky if you can. All you do if you're not a bivocational pastor. Let's see, Jason, if we highlighted the same things. Okay. So just a few snippets from the post, and it's a short. No, it's a medium-length post, I think.
Yeah.
So I've been. So this is Robert Truelove. I've been bivocational for some time, and I wish I had something positive to say about it. The reality is, you're going to be put in impossible situations where you can't possibly see the needs of the church, your other occupation, and your family at the same time. So what Robert Truelove is saying is it's going to be hard, especially as the years roll by and the bivocational situation remains. My advice is know what you're getting into. Discuss these matters with your wife. Lead her and pray that God grant her commitment to this as well as yourself. You're going to need her understanding and support, and never forget that she is the most important congregant you need a shepherd. If the burdens become too great for her, it will likely cause you to need to step out of the ministry. So, Robert Truelove, number one bit of practical advice to the bivocational pastor: love your wife fervently and lead her into the joys of Christ. It's a harsh read, man, but it's reality. Jason, do you have any input on that?
No, he is a wise man, and it was interesting. One of the first comments in that blog post over at that was from Reformed Baptist Fellowship, their blog,
yeah.
And one of the first pastors said I could have written this post word for word. I did this for, I think he said 9 years or 7 or 9 years or something, and he's like it almost killed me. He's like, I'm so glad. He's like, wow. He's like, do it while you have the energy, but I could not do that anymore. He's like, I'm so glad the church can fully provide for me. And it's I mean, I've worked closely side by side with my co-elder for the last. I've only been an elder the last not even a year. I've worked closely with my pastor for 6 years or so, and I mean he's full time and he just does so much. I can't even imagine if he had a full-time job or had to provide in other ways. The church is very demanding, even a small Reformed Baptist church.
Right.
It's crazy. So kudos to you, pastor, and bivocational pastors, and if you're in the congregation, just think about that and consider that, and so pray for your pastor and try to help him out any way you can. Even simple tasks can really help him out a lot. So there's my words of advice, but Robert Truelove, love his stuff. So there you go. Also on the post, this will be the last one: church membership de jure or de facto, and this comes from Brandon Adams, and he writes, when Presbyterians are first introduced to 1689 federalism, often one of their first responses is, "Oh, so you deny the visible and invisible distinction of the church?" To which we respond, no. Our confession clearly states this in chapter 26, which we brought that out before, and then he quotes it all, and then he says, so where is the confusion coming from? It's the difference between de jure and de facto. So this is a Brandon Adams post, so So Junior, I'm guessing you haven't seen this post yet, but it's a Brandon Adams post. So do you think it's short, medium, or very long?
It's probably very long.
Yes.
Lots of quotes.
Yes. Lots of quotes. So good stuff. Check it out. I sound got good at myself and heard it through my ears, and it was really good stuff. So you last week also, Junior, you brought up the Ask a Reformed Baptist question. I was going to get that ready for this week, but like last minute, my mom wanted to take myself and my family to the movies, so I did that instead.
Oh,
so we saw Paddington Bear. It was a lot better than I thought it would be. It was really cute, actually.
Oh, cool.
I laughed the whole time, and I shed a tear here and there, and it was really good.
Aww.
I was surprised how it was very creative. I just didn't expect creativity or the artsiness to come out of that movie, but it did. It was really cute, very unique style. But anyways, Paddington Bear brings us to the Baptibots.
Yeah?
Eh?
All right. So, these are just highlights, and there's a ton of stuff from the Baptibot and my feed.
Hey, hold on. For some reason, your mic keeps muting, and you're cutting in and out.
Am I doing that? Hold on.
No.
Okay. This is from Reformed Virginian, who will stand in the gap. Recently, we had the 42nd anniversary of the U.S. Supreme Court's tragic Roe versus Wade ruling, and that is the abortion ruling. So, read his quick post. Andrew Harrison at Southern Districts Reformed Baptist Church. I don't know where that's at. I tried to the website and try to find out where that's at. But Andrew Harrison, Charlie Hebdo, and the freedom to offend. And so a lot of, and there's another one on Charlie Hebdo. So in France, if you remember, we had the attack, the Muslims attacked a French satire magazine in Paris. And so when that happened, there's a little bit of post about freedom of speech and also freedom and Christian speech. So that was one. Another one's from Jeremy Walker at Reformation 21, not quite Charlie Hebdo, and it talks about, again, the freedom of speech and the freedom of Christians, and we should expect to be persecuted because the gospel is offensive. And then related to that, Jeremy Walker did another post at Reformation 21 on the privilege of dangerous seasons, and he asked, are we living in the last days? Certainly. Is this one of the most dangerous seasons? Possibly, even probably. Yet who knows whether or not this is our high privilege, that we have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. So that's just Jeremy Walker at Reformation 21. Michael DeWalt over at Gospel Center Musings, stop asking theological questions. And this is a quick quote. I find it common within Baltimore that most of my students rather discuss what they think about theology than actually taking the time to learn what the scriptures declare for them to know about theology. Maybe if they, like most evangelical churches today, took the time to study what they claim to believe than discussing unnecessary questions, they would have actually come to asking the right questions that they need to be addressing. And that reminds me of there's one of the epistles. I'll come back to it. Dr. Gabriel Williams, continuing on at Cradle Covenant Fellowship, The Evidence of God in the Origins of the Universe. And he says Christ is not only the agent of creation, but he is the agent of the new creation for those who put trust in him. And in his next post, he will address the contingent complexity of our universe as evidence of God's existence and knowability. Tom Hicks over at Reformed Baptist Fellowship, What God Requires of the Church, Individualism versus Christ. Clearly, Tom Hicks, many Christians are asking the wrong questions about church. All of the above questions are about what people want, not what God wants. The questions of individualism and American consumerism make people the reigning authority in the church rather than God himself. The most important question we should always be asking is, what does God require of his churches in his word? Jim Savastio, part 2 of a blog on his blog, Main Things, Whither Reformed Baptist. So in this blog, he wants to address the issues of second and third generation fatigue. And he means this both doctrinally and practically. Reformed Baptist churches have not only been marked by doctrinal convictions, but they have been marked by and large with a serious practical commitment of churchmanship that was expressed in ways that are increasingly out of step with our contemporary evangelical and even Reformed setting. So again, that's part 2 of Main Things, Jim Savastio's blog. Tom Chantry, this is cool. At Chantry Notes, Popping Interpretive Bubbles. Last Wednesday, Steve Hayes of Trial Blog posted a most curious of preachers, a review of a review of a review. His response to Mariah McGraw's review of John Frames included comments of Tom Chantry's synopsis of that same review. So, of course, he had to post a review of Hayes' review of his original review of McGraw's review of Frames' systematic theology.
That's 4 levels.
Lastly,
that's 4 levels deeper
yeah.
right there, dude. It's a dream within a dream within a dream
within a dream, right? That's Inception right there. That's Inception
right there, dude. Reformed Baptist Inception.
I was going to tell you about Robert Trulove, but Jason already did that one, so he stole it from me. I guess we both did that. And that's it for the Back to Bot.
Yes, I should mention some of the podcasts that have been starting back up again. It seems like when the holidays roll around, stuff goes down a little bit, and but Standing Firm podcast started back up again. First episode, James Brown Jr. went through was a debasement of religious worship. Really good stuff. I got to listen to that. Jeff Riddle, Word Magazine number 33, put out one on the recent Mark fragment. Everyone's been talking about the recent fragment found inside that mummy's face and this and that, and he kind of debunked some of the things, and he kind of is like, this has actually been news for a while, and just because a big publisher put it out, now it's kind of everyone's talking about it. But he asked some really good questions to ask of it, like, how do we even know it's authentic? How do we know it's not from some Gnostic gospel? How do we know this or that? So he's really well studied up on that stuff, so you can check that out. The Dividing Line was back. James White's been out of town. On Tuesday, he talked about his travels to Norway and Atlanta, where he spoke at the G3 conference. And he's talked a lot about that kind of stuff. He talked about Kurt Eckernwald's appearance on the Line of Fire and the current state of secularism and its attempts to silence Christians in the public square, things like that. And on earlier today, he played some brief clips of David Allen on the atonement, and then he took calls that ranged from the sovereignty of God to sin to infant salvation. So lots of hot topics there, and I think that's it. Credo Legacy, Covenant Legacy, but we highlighted that one. So but I'm still kind of waiting for the California guys to get back with their radio show. Yeah, because
they were going through the confession. Yeah,
they're going through the confession, and they just kind of stop. It's like, what? You guys don't believe the rest, or what? No, I was kidding.
It was Christmas.
Of course they do. It was just Christmas time. But some tweets real quick. So some tweets I'm going to highlight on the page, and if you go to the page, you'll be able to see all these very easily. I'm just going to go down the list that I have here. Oh, this was a really funny one. Andrew Howard tweeted, "You're a Reformed Baptist when you're excited when you fill up your gas tank and it equals exactly 1689. Right?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a picture?
He does not have a picture. We should have asked for proof. Like, how do we know it was the exact? What was 1644? Cool. No, I was kidding. Reformed Baptist Seminary, their mission conference is currently going on, or their missions module is currently going on. So I'm going to be posting some of the pictures that they've been taking from there. They also highlighted Reformed Latin American Publishing in putting some Spanish works out there. There are some Reformed Baptist works out there, some stuff from Jeffrey Thomas and more. Earl Blackburn commented on the podcast saying that Dr. Pipa is a better seminary president than a mimic. He did not quite capture my refined North Carolina accent. I thought that was really funny.
That was cool.
That was really funny. Yeah. Steve Weaver posted some links to some old books that we will highlight there. What else do I got in this tweet roundup? More pictures from Reformed Baptist Seminary. Oh, Richard Barcelos went to a conference last week, and he gave I can't remember his name now. Scott, what's his name? Recovering a confessional heritage, or recovering. What's his name? Scott. Help me out here, dude. Scott.
D. Scott Meadows.
No, not D. Scott Meadows.
Scott
Heidelblog.
Oh, R. Scott Clark.
R. Scott Clark. There we go. That's why I was getting it wrong. Anyways, it's this really funny picture of R. Scott Clark holding in his hands, recovering a covenantal heritage, and he has this big old smile on his face, and it's just really funny. I'm sure Rich talked him into doing that. But I'm going to highlight that just because that's really funny. Oh, but yeah, D. Scott Meadows did tweet at me that he has a paper that's going to be published on divine simplicity that's coming out in the Ordained Servant, which is the journal of the OPC, and that'll be in print and online. So we'll be sure to link to that when it comes out. But be on the lookout for that. And lastly, some pictures from the Deep South Founders Conference that happened last week. Went on there, so I just have some pictures from that I'll post on the thing. So there'll actually be a lot of Twitter stuff. So definitely check out the page, the links to all this. You can get some good stuff if you're not on Twitter or you haven't seen some of these. So check that out. Lastly, I do want to remind everyone that the live stream of Dr. Waldron going through the Doctrine of the Word with CBTS is currently happening Tuesdays through Thursdays, and all the stuff's archived, but it'll be taken down once it's over, which happens February 26th. But it's been excellent stuff, just really, really good stuff. So even if you're the guy like, oh, I'm pretty settled in the Doctrine of the Word, you can always grow and learn more and be more encouraged and more edified in that. So encourage you all to take advantage of that great free resource. So I think that's it. That's all we got, right, Junior? Or this is what you've been waiting for. Here we go. Bring it, dude.
What's this reminder? So we have. I'm chewing on a cough drop, in case you're wondering. So we have one reminder. We have a giveaway. You can win some 1689 Beard Balm, or a sampler pack of Dr. Joey Pipa's pipe tobacco blend. So again, the Beard Balm, the pipe tobacco. If you don't know what we're talking about on the tobacco, listen to the interview, the end of the interview with Dr. Pipa on worship. And let's see what else. Oh, so a couple of things about I really appreciate all y'all's comments who are into the wet shaving culture and the tobacco culture. Really cool to see Reformed Baptist into that. I appreciate the comments. Appreciate the Twitter feeds, tweets rather. And I found out, Jason Delgado, that Dr. Pipa's mustache has his own Twitter account.
I saw that. That was so great. That was so great. Yeah, it must have been you who retweeted it, because I saw it on my feed. I was like, okay, that is great. And then someone today commented on the on those posts saying like, oh, it'd be so epic if Dr. Pipa had a beard, and we could send him some of that 69 beard balm. I was like, his stash is all he needs. It's powerful enough. Like that's all he needs, dude. Cool. That big old stash. So that's funny. Yeah, no, I thought the same thing. I was surprised how many Reformed Baptists came out of the woodworks, like proudly declaring like, my manly beard and all this stuff, and they're wanting to win that tobacco. I thought that was pretty funny.
And also, I was gonna say something else too. I forgot what. No, comments. So to enter, you need to go to the box, right? Like if you enter a comment, that won't put you the comments won't put you in the giveaway. You have to do that thing in the box, right?
Yeah. So I think they did though, because they wouldn't know to comment unless they saw the thing in the box. Because the thing in the box says, put a comment on which one you'd like to win. That's usually what it's about. So. And
then the contest expires, I think, Wednesday, right?
Yeah, Wednesday. And so next Dunker Bunker, you and I will roll the die and see who it lands on, and then be like, you win this one, and you win this one, and then we'll send out all the emails and all that good stuff. So, but I think that's all we got. So thanks, y'all. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks for sending all the links and whatnot. Yeah. I never know how to end these things. So you end it, Junior.
You're silly. All right, guys. Everybody have a great night, great afternoon, great morning, wherever you're doing. We'll see you next week, Lord willing.
See, that was so much better. Thank you. Peace.